Asti. You've always been a pioneer. Your outlook on life has been one of adventure, whether it was flying airplanes during World War II in the Pacific or transitioning from male to female in the late 70s, decades before the world was even familiar with transgender people. Can you tell us about your experience of becoming a woman?
I've been lucky in my life because there have been so many great things that have happened to me. I was born in the time of 1921 when the world was changing rapidly then. People were beginning to communicate. We have an example of it right here now, communications. However, during the war, I had so many uplifting experiences, and I would just love to tell everybody about them, but he's asking me another question. My experiences about changing from male to female. The word transgender, I think, was born in the early 70s. I'm not quite sure. I didn't even recognize it as a state. What I was thinking that I'm going to become a woman. And it was one of the greatest adventures in my life. I don't say this lightly because I lost my daughter for many years. I lost my ex-wife for many years. And I lost a few friends. One person whom I informed was out in California. He very candidly said, "Robert Asti has died. I don't want to talk about him ever or communicate ever again with anybody with that name." It was pitiful. And I say to you who are changing, be patient. Think about the people that you are talking to. They are absolutely awestruck by this phenomenon. You aren't, but they are. If you had a father and you're changing from male to female, think what that father is doing internally to himself. He is now saying, "Where's my son? Where's my baseball player?" All of those things. And if you're changing from female to male, the father says, "What do I do now? I can't stand it. I don't know how to handle this." Be patient. All these mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters still love you. I hope that all you people that are making this kind of change, remember patience and it will work out. Is that enough for the moment?
Yes, that's good. I wanted you to talk a little bit. You talked about what your experience was transitioning and having to change jobs and all the sexism you experienced. Can you tell the story about, as a pilot, how it was different for you when you transitioned and you went back to the doctor?
Yes, this is a rather interesting little story. A commercial pilot has to take a physical examination every year, and that's a must. Well, I'm a commercial pilot. I've been flying since I've been 15, actually. And here I've been going to the same aviation medical doctor for years. And he knew me like I know you, Drew, very well. And I told him what I was doing, and he was interested. And then I came back for the annual check, right, medical check. He went through me, and everything is fine. And then he pulls the table over, and he said, "What's that?" He says, "I got to do an internal." I looked at him. I called him by his first name, Joe. I said, "Joe, I've been coming to you for years. You never asked me to drop my pants. What's going on with this?" And he said, "That's the law." So I said, "Show me." And he took out the law books for medical examinations. And can you believe in all those years, all women taking aviation physical examinations had to have an internal examination? I agreed and did it. But then I went back to the 99s, which is a women's organization for women pilots. And I made a big noise about it and said, why are women subjected to internal examination? And lo and behold, within 6 months, the rule was changed. Isn't that great?
It's amazing.
That's just a simple aviation story.
Well, you made national and even international headlines with your story about successfully challenging the Social Security Administration's denial of your survivor benefits after your husband Norwood passed away. Certainly, as a legal matter, the SSA was wrong in withholding your benefits, but for you, it was about much more than getting your money. Tell us about why that fight was so important to you and how it fits into the idea of transgender acceptance.
At 2012, I waited a while, and then I thought, I should maybe apply for Social Security benefits, and I did. And they finally came back to me after a year and said I was denied because I wasn't legally a woman. That got me so mad. I hooked up with Lambda Legal and Dru and his wonderful crew of 4 people. I'm always thankful for those 4. And pretty soon they had reversed that. They made the Social Security reverse it. On September 14th, Valentine's Day,
right, yeah.
I looked at my bank account and it had a bunch of money in it. I knew what happened. I went like this, thank you, Norwood. And that's what happened. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm thinking of all the other people that's good for.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
They ended up changing the policy after you challenged them. So today happens to be November 20th. It's the International Transgender Day of Remembrance, where we remember all the transgender lives lost to hatred and violence, as well as suicide. Robina, your courage and story have inspired so many, particularly transgender youth. What would you like transgender young people today to know?
Patience. You'll get to them. Be quiet. Remember, your parents, your friends, your siblings all loved you once, and it will come through. It's happened to me. But I must caution you, older people, not the young people, like I did this when I was 56, I think. And what happened, you can't tell about life. My oldest daughter's husband's parents died. That left my 2 grandchildren without grandparents because I wasn't around. And I know from talking to my younger grandson that he missed that. And I also go to you parents, think of these things when you're rejecting your child to change. There is something else going on. You've got to continue with your children's heritage going on. Live. Be kind to your children. Accept them. I can't think of anything more to say that would reflect that. Just be worried about things that can happen that you don't expect. Unintended consequences, I think they give it the name today.
My last question. You transitioned in the late 70s, and you went off and really just lived your life, and not many people knew you were transgender for 30 years. Why did you come out to the world, and why are you on the TED Talk stage right now at 94?
Well, at 94, I don't have many peers left. I have no more friends that are my peers. I have a lot of friends flying all the time, and I still do a lot of flying, are all younger than I am. And one of the things that happened to my peers is that they're all gone. And that's such a sad thing. When you get older, I hope every single one of you live to be my age. That means that there'll be other older people, and they will have the same problem. Think when you got your friends, they are cherished. And when they're gone, they are simply gone, and there's nothing but memories. Your mother, for instance. Talk to your mother about her childhood and the various things that she did. And your father, too. Copy names down. I failed to do that to my parents. And I'm so sorry now that I didn't. I had the chance, but I missed it. Don't miss that opportunity. Get to know your parents. I don't care what you want to do. Oh, a little funny thing. I went to a reception last night, and I had to go to the ladies' room. And I went upstairs to the second floor, and I got out, and I walked towards the ladies' room, or I think it was the ladies' room, and there's a sign that says, gender neutral is on the third floor. I looked at it, and I looked at it again, and I said, I'm gender biased. and I went to the ladies' room. And God bless you, nice young people, and take care of yourself.